Holy Christ on a tandem bicycle. I had no intention of doing an upload today, but then I saw this wonderful video on Instagram yesterday. I'm like, oh, maybe I should probably respond to it. Because there's this other creator who's like the inverse me. He's a white, straight-looking man, so that's similar, but he's a screaming, raging liberal. Only problem is, unlike me, who gets passion, he's like sitting in his car, screaming at the top of his lungs into his phone, and it's the most deranged thing I've ever seen. He's going to pop a blood vessel. Let's be honest, he's gonna have a heart attack long before I do, and I probably weigh twice as much as he does. And here he is, freaking out, doing similar content to what I do, except the other direction, complaining about how it's all the low IQ gamers who voted based on who their favorite streamer told them to vote for that is causing all the problems of the gaming industry. It's our fault that GTA 6 is going to require face scans, and it's our fault that the PS5 costs $50 more with a price hike. Somehow it's all because of us and the big, scary orange man that this is a problem that's coming up, completely ignoring any and all context that might be surrounding it, and just trying to justify this grown man having a giant tantrum in front of his camera. So I figured we could have a laugh at this. It's a short video, it's only on Instagram, so it's a minute long. So before we go further, like, subscribe, and let's get into this. Now, I have very little idea who this creator is. His name is itsluke_7 on Instagram. Don't give him any hate, though if you want to prove him wrong, feel free to do that because he is objectively incorrect. But so I figured we'd let him have his time, we'll hear him out, we'll see what he makes, and I'll break down the points that he's trying to get to. So, let's hurry up and unfortunately listen to this guy scream. Like I said, apologies to headphone users, I'm not sure how loud it'll be.
So if you're a room temp IQ gamer who voted for Trump because your favorite streamer told you about how he's the based candidate and
here we see right off the bat, of course, as one can expect, he's going and he's saying that you're a room IQ temp gamer, using the gamer as a prerogative, and saying that the only reason you voted for Trump is because your favorite base streamer told you to. Classic invective ad hominem that these leftists like to use, because they can't conceive of the idea of somebody having a difference of opinion on their own.
Project 2025 was a hoax. Couple questions for you. One, how you doing today, you fuckwit? And two...
Oh, someone's angry. You see, this guy likes to do this. He says flipwit in the subtitles, but he's actually saying fuckwit. He says it, I think, 4 different times in this video because he can't deal with all the big emotions he's busy feeling.
How in the sister-kissing fuck did you play Cyberpunk and come out of it thinking, oh yeah, Johnny Silverhand's an extremist. The corpos have our best interests at heart.
Yes, because any one of us are out here saying that the reason why we side with Johnny Silverhand, if any of us sided with Johnny Silverhand, is because he would totally be a based MAGA. I'm so glad no one has ever said that in the history of the world. Nobody would think that Johnny Silverhand would be pro-MAGA, but he also wouldn't be pro-Democrat. If you want to complain about the fact that Trump and his cabinet are all corpos, which you're more than welcome to complain about, because let's be honest, Trump is a bit of a corpo, what about Bill Gates? What about Kamala Harris? What about the Clintons? What about literally anyone else on the left who's created an industry around being career politicians? They're just as much, if not more, corpo than Donald Trump could ever be.
Let's take a gander as to what the based candidate has done for you. Sony announced they're increasing prices on the PlayStation due to tariffs. First.
Okay, so here's my favorite one. He's claiming now that the base candidate is directly responsible for the increase in PlayStation 5 prices because of tariffs. Let's be entirely frank. The PlayStation 5 is not increasing its cost due to tariffs. They're increasing costs because they think they can get away with it. The PS5 is already one of the most extremely expensive consoles out there, right from the get-go, with an extremely, $70 disc drive and an $80 stand so you can stand it up. The PS5 is greed incarnate, not capitalism incarnate, corporatism incarnate. If you look at their stock price, there was no need for Sony to increase the cost of the consoles to begin with. As you can see, they've been on a massive spike. The point of tariffs is that either the country of origin or the company eats the cost until they can lower the cost of manufacturing. Tariffs are not supposed to be passed on to the consumer. That is the opposite of how tariffs work. When it's passed on to the consumer, it is the company making deliberate bad choice as a way to get around it. Tell me you know nothing about economics without telling me you know nothing about economics. And with how well Sony has been doing in the stock market, they could eat twice as many tariffs as they are without having to raise the console price by a single cent. I love how it's all about how capitalism is bad until a conservative president decides to initiate tariffs, which is a counter-capitalist system, and now you're all of a sudden cheering on capitalism? Make it make sense.
Time in history that a console has gotten more expensive during its active fucking lifespan. There's code in the Rockstar files that says you're gonna need a government ID that says you're 18 to play GTA 6 or...
Okay, so now they claim that you're gonna need a face ID to play GTA 6. Where has Trump made any claims pushing for that? Where has Donald Trump or the GOP made any instance where they would even hint at wanting to enforce Face IDs? The only people forcing and pushing Face IDs are Liberals in Parliament at the UK. Keir Starmer, the Labour Party, which is a Liberal Party, Prime Minister, is the one who pushed Face ID in the country of England. And it is Liberals within the EU pushing for face scans to protect the children. Conservatives have only put forward one bill, and it's some random conservative that nobody even likes, who's a raging neocon. There's been absolutely no point where you can actively say that Republicans or Trump himself are behind any of the face scan initiatives. In fact, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have both directly criticized Keir Starmer for their extremist behaviors in the way that they're implementing the face scans for activism. They're actively putting in the face scans to protect the kids from porn, but it's actually to limit the ability to see any kind of not approved media. They censored a lot of things about the grooming gangs as a way to suppress riots because they are afraid of real information getting out. That's how they're using it. This has nothing to do with conservatives. Conservatives have not pushed for face scans. You are lying. This is a straight up lie. But the way that he continues it is even funnier. Let's just get into this.
Online. Oh, and Project 2025, that thing that Trump said he didn't know his ass from his elbow about, it's about 50% done. You know what's still on the chopping block? Video games. GTA is explicitly named as a title that should not be allowed for sale in the US.
I honestly cannot believe that somebody sat down, recorded this. I apologize for the face I paused on. But somebody sat down, they screamed at their phone in their car about this and legitimately said that the Face ID requirements for GTA 6 is a part of Project 2025. What in the brainworm? You're putting RFK's brainworm to shame because yours is far more hyperactive than his has ever been. How can you possibly sit there and think that's a rational thing to claim? That Project 2025 is aimed to get rid of it. And yeah, Project 2025 is halfway done because Project 2025 is a leftist dog whistle created as a way to fearmonger you into following the left. And so they did that by hiding a lot of things that of course would be accomplished. They hid a lot of things in Project 2025 that of course would come to fruition as per Donald Trump's actions as a conservative president. Of course they were going to happen. But I guarantee you, the far more extremist stuff you are fear-mongering about is either not going to happen or will not be done by Trump. Because why would it? Under what goal or reason would Trump have to ban GTA 6? Now, I understand that this man is highly disingenuous. He has no intention of telling the truth, as evident by the video.
How's that base candidate working out for you, you fuckwit? And the thing is, it always comes back to a lack of media literacy.
Media literacy, put one more on the bingo card. Every single leftist likes to scream about media literacy. You just don't have media literacy. You don't know what that word means. Maybe we're capable of enjoying content which does not align with our politics. Maybe we can separate our politics from what we want to engage with and how we want to look at the world. You can do that, you know. I can engage in the most extremist socialist media and enjoy myself without having to agree with any of the ideas presented.
You can't play these games with a working, comprehending brain on your fucking shoulders and vote for Trump. You just can't. You can't play Skyrim and vote for the guy who would burn national parks to the ground if it saved him a fucking dollar. You don't. You can't play Wolfenstein and vote for the fucking fascist, and you damn sure can't play Cyberpunk and vote for the fucking corpo. You just can't.
You sure about that, bud? You sure about that? I can play whatever the fuck I want regardless of my politics, and oh, I can enjoy it. Guess what? When I play Skyrim, I side with the Stormcloaks because Skyrim is for the Nords, and he has always been correct about that. And where is Donald Trump burning down national parks? Where is he getting rid of national parks? He's reducing funding because they're wasting money on it that isn't doing anything. The point isn't actually to get rid of the national parks, it's to reduce the spending deficit because the liberals have overspent so egregiously that they have to find a way to recoup some of that losses and then make space for the places where they are forced to spend money. And as an extreme national parks advocate, as someone who loves the national parks, you can't actually look at what he's doing and say that he's actively destroying these parks. This is what happens when you give an overgrown toddler a microphone and a platform and tell him that what he believes is important, because it isn't. He has nothing of value to say. He's nothing more than a vapid screamer. Somebody who's doing similar content to me, but unlike him, I'm actually backing it up with facts. You can fact check everything I've said, and you want to go out here and attack us for what we believe, but you don't actually know anything that we believe. You base it on this ridiculous claim that all of us think Johnny Silverhand is going to be a MAGA warrior and would side with us. Johnny Silverhand would kill me if he had the choice, not because of my politics, but because he's a psychopath. And then you're using cyberpunk language, proving you don't know anything about the actual game, flinging around the corpo to just mean a billionaire. That's not what corpo means. Based on your understanding of corpo, Bernie Sanders would have to be one of the biggest corpos out there. But it always goes back to the same old saying. Without hypocrisy, without contradictory beliefs, the Democrats would have no beliefs at all. I just wish this tiny man had as much intelligence as he did passion. I wish he had done as much research as he spent time working on his vocal cords so he could scream for a while, and I wish he had a nicer car to do it in. Because let's be honest, the car content is tired and trite and dumb. Why don't you actually do some research? Why don't you actually try discussing with somebody? Why don't you try working on actual rhetoric instead of just screaming nothing but pointless invectives and emotional outbursts? You're having a tantrum. You are a grown man having a tantrum because the man you wanted to be president didn't get elected, and now things are happening irrelevant of him, and you want a boogeyman to blame. You want somebody to be at fault, and so you have picked Trump and you are screaming at him because the world isn't going the way that your limited mindset wishes it would. It really is quite disappointing to see somebody who looks very close in age to me have such an incorrect stance. But what do you expect when you're dealing with somebody who grew up on Soylent and dealing with nothing but feminist and gynocentric arguing points? But that's pretty much all I've got. Let me know what you guys think about this, and I will see you guys on the next one.